Hello friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums, and today I have a weekly check-in reading for the week of August 16th, so Sunday, August 16th, all the way through, I believe it will be Saturday the 22nd. So, hope everyone's been doing well. Sorry I didn't do one of these last week. If it's something that you enjoy watching, and even today, this one will go up a little bit later because I slept in. Again, I've been kind of tired. Not having a schedule has really just thrown me off in so many ways. So I'm trying to kind of get back to getting enough sleep and trying to have a slightly better schedule. It's still not 100%. So let's see what we have in store as a collective this week. I'll be using the Tarot Mucha deck. I haven't used it in forever. So let's see what we have in store as a collective this week. So what do we need to know as a collective? We have, that's the Emperor reversed. All right, what do we need to do as a collective? We have the Ace of Wands reversed. What do we need to release as a collective? We have the Fool upright, and then what do we need to contemplate as a collective? We have the Two of Wands reversed as we kind of move into the end of Leo season. Let's see what this week will bring for us as a collective. So very first card is, what do we need to know? Here we have the Emperor reversed. Now last week we had the beginning of the eclipse season, so to speak. We also had the new moon solar eclipse in Leo, and so there's a lot of different things that have been kind of highlighted because of this energy. So anyone with prominent Leo or Aquarius energy will start to really feel a lot of different opportunities opening up, a lot of shifts, a lot of changes, having to kind of hurry up and make a lot of decisions about how you're showing up and what it is that you really desire and want. So I think for having this Emperor reversed, I think we're getting a little bit of the sense of maybe we've been a little bit too domineering, maybe we've been trying to be a little too forceful in certain aspects or elements of our lives. Maybe we just feel like we're lacking some sort of control. And so I think that is a very normal part of what we may experience during eclipse season. So it may feel like some things are kind of thrown up in the air right now. We may not have a lot of direction, a lot of ability to really see clearly what is going on. Now, this is a major card, and so we do have a lot of these bigger themes that may be coming up to the surface. We may feel the sense of maybe lacking a little bit of a foundation. Maybe we just don't really know what comes next because it's hard for us to see how we can lead forward. It can be a little bit of a challenge when it comes to how we're trying to show up, what it is that we're trying to do when we do show up, and what that will look like for us as a whole. So I think the biggest thing with this is that for many of us, we may be feeling this kind of disconnect from the life that maybe we thought we were establishing, or the life that we thought maybe we had desired and wanted. And so now we're wanting to kind of not say there's a lot of upheaval, but maybe there's a lot of this sense of, I do need to make some changes, and maybe something does need to be different, or maybe I am a little bit, maybe there's a lot of discontent and just not really feeling like things have been moving in the way of what we would want for ourselves as individuals. And so there may be some powers, again, because when I think of the Emperor, I think it's very much it can be authority, but more in a one-on-one kind of way, versus the Hierophant, which I feel is more higher purpose, higher level, agencies and governing agencies and things like that. So I think with this one, maybe we need to take some time out to kind of move back into the lessons of the Empress and kind of take care of ourselves a little bit more and be a little bit more connected with like what makes us feel creative and fertile and, you know, just nurtured in so many different ways. So I know it can be a little bit of a challenge, especially with, you know, a lot of busy schedules. Everyone's just like trying to do everything that they can to kind of move forward and survive. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the Emperor reverse is kind of here as a reminder of like, hey, we also need to kind of connect with ourselves and try not to just push forward because it's what we're used to doing. So we may not always have a lot of like a clear direction as to like what this will look like in the future or what this will look like moving forward, but there is a little bit of this sense of maybe we need to kind of tune into the different parts of ourselves that, you know, maybe have been a little bit too domineering or too dominant and not really allowing like flexibility and things to shift the way that we would like for them to. Now, for what we need to do, we have the Ace of Wands reversed. Now, when I think of the Ace of Wands, I think it's not just an opportunity and a new door opening. I think it's this energy of connecting to things moving and like a sense of momentum, a sense of our spirituality and like what inspires us in a lot of ways. With this being reversed, we may not feel like we're getting as much momentum and movement in a different area of our life. So maybe we're like, well, I'm trying to do this and things just aren't coming together. Things aren't, you know, falling into place the way that I thought they would. Maybe the way that we are kind of showing up isn't being received in the ways that we would want it to. And so I think with this week, we may feel like there's just not a lot of progress in some areas, or maybe we feel like we're having to kind of hold back in some ways. And so it can be a little bit of a challenge, if that makes sense. And so maybe we need to be paying a little bit more attention to what opportunities have come up and why they're being presented at this time, especially if they're situations where like we've wanted to kind of like be very dominant in. I think that this is kind of saying like, it's okay, give it time. Don't try to rush into this next thing because even though there's like that excitement and that inspiration and that creativity and that like fire to just like, I just want to get to the next thing. I think that there's a little bit of this sense of there's a reason why everything isn't happening right now with like a speed. And there is an opportunity for a new sense of vitality in different areas of your life, but this is not a time to just like hurry up and do just because you can, if that makes sense. And so I think a lot of us are having to kind of like take a step back and reflect on like maybe some of the choices and the actions that we have made. I know for me, some of the things that have come up is like, I can't just jump in 100% the way that I had, you know, been going, like the pace that I had been going at previously. I'm having to be a little bit more mindful and kind of reconsider different elements and aspects that will be affected by the choices that I'm trying to make. And so I think for many of us, we're kind of in that same space of, I need to not just like reconsider, but I think for many of us, we have to be very aware of, well, what does that mean for me in the long term if I am like, I'm going to pick this thing or make this choice, even if I don't always necessarily understand the entire scope of what that decision will have, like the impact of that decision. And so I think for many of us, where maybe there's a lot of like balls up in the air, where we're just kind of like, we're waiting for something to kind of come together and make sense. And maybe we're just not seeing a lot of that at the current moment. So I think this week will be one where we just feel like there's not as much progress forward, but that doesn't mean that it's not still significant or something that will be beneficial. Now, for what we need to release, we have the Fool, which is all about new opportunities, showing up in different ways and challenging ourselves to trust as we kind of go out into the world and explore in a way that maybe makes us question everything that we believe and everything that we've known. So with what we need to release is maybe the sense of wanting things to shift, wanting things to change, wanting an opportunity to present itself to us. The thing with the Fool is there is this like immaculate kind of trust that the Fool has as they set out on their journey. They are just like showing up and having like a positive expectancy that whatever they go through and whoever they meet along the journey is going to assist them. And so I think with this, like having to release this kind of sense of, I just need to make a choice and I just need to get out there and I just need to do things, is maybe the sense of pressuring yourselves to have that like innocence and that trust and that, you know, basically taking that leap of faith in a lot of different ways. So if you've been kind of feeling like I'm not ready to make like these choices that, you know, make me feel uncomfortable or make me feel scared or make me feel a little bit like it's gonna be hard or it is scary, I think we need to kind of release this sense of putting so much pressure on ourselves to make something out of what we have going on. And, you know, maybe, again, not be so hard on ourselves when we don't take advantage of certain opportunities when they arrive. And I think the thing with this is like having this like Emperor reversed, having this Ace of Wands reversed, having this Fool, you know, kind of saying like, hey, there's a story here. So maybe we just need to kind of take into consideration, like, what does this mean overall for us? Maybe this is not a time where we can really plan things out the way that we want. Maybe we're not seeing as many opportunities show up the way that we would like for them to. And I think in a lot of ways, it's kind of saying like, all right, just kind of be in it. And I know that that can be very uncomfortable for many of us because we may be like, well, I'm already planning on like what comes next and what I'm going to do next and where I'm going to be next and how I'm going to be next, versus being in the present moment and recognizing and realizing that just because an opportunity presents itself does not mean that we have to chase after it. And trying to dominate a situation or trying to be very forceful with a situation may not always be beneficial. All right, and for what we need to contemplate, we have the Two of Wands reversed. Now, when I think of the Two of Wands, I think that there's this like beautiful kind of energy of like, I'm preparing myself for the next phase. I am getting myself ready and I'm planning things out. I'm trying to strategize and I'm trying to kind of figure out like how I'm going to get there and what it's going to look like and what I'm going to do. And with this being what we need to contemplate is that we need to maybe look at what the opportunities are, because again, it's wands, it's inspiration, it's that momentum, it's travel, it's movement, and it's fire, right? It's the element of fire. And so it's like what is kind of coming into our lives quickly and inspiring us in different ways. With what we need to contemplate is that maybe not everything that is being presented to us is going to be as beneficial for us as we may believe that it may be. And this isn't to say that you shouldn't be making choices about some of the opportunities that are presented to you. Obviously, we each have our own sense of what we want, what we need, how we show up. But I think for the collective, right now, many of us may not feel like we have a lot of choice. Maybe we feel like we're just having to kind of deal with things as they are. We may feel like there is a lack of inspiration, or maybe there is a lack of choice in the things that we have. And so maybe we just kind of need to reconsider why we feel that way and what it is that we can do with our current situation and with what we have at the present moment. There may be some things that are trying to shift that feel uncomfortable. There may be some challenges that have been arising that are kind of letting us know like, hey, there's something here about whether like how you believe in things or how you're showing up in different elements and aspects of your life that are requiring you to kind of take a little bit of a step back and kind of, again, reconsider is kind of like the word that keeps coming to my mind right now. Maybe we need to kind of reconsider, like, is this sustainable? Is this the pace I want to keep moving at? You know, again, fire has a lot of momentum and it moves quickly, but it's also hard to control. And I think that with all of these kind of like fiery elements here, you know, we're kind of being reminded, like, just because I have the gumption to like get out there and do something doesn't always mean like that's going to be the most beneficial thing for me to do moving forward. So we may feel as though things are not really progressing as quickly as we want. We may not feel like we're making as much progress as we want. We may feel a little bit up in the air with different elements and aspects of what we have in our lives. But I think the biggest thing here is that we do need to be, I think the biggest thing here is that we do need to be very present in the things that maybe are causing a little bit of like this internalization of this energy, and why we feel like we need to kind of take it in within ourselves before we kind of express it outwardly. This isn't going to be a time to just hurry up and make a choice and kind of get out there just because we can. I think it's going to be a week where we're having to kind of guard ourselves in some ways, maybe take care of the things that we've been trying to kind of put out into the world, because it's not that you're not ready. It's that maybe the situation and the circumstances are not quite there just yet. So I hope that this reading makes sense. I want to say thank you so much to everyone who watches my videos and has subscribed. I really appreciate you guys. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.